The question of who can actually execute a short sale is fairly open in terms of any kind of licensing. There's no real requirement. Most often in today's market, realtors are getting involved in facilitating shorts. Essentially what they're doing is putting a property up for sale and taking offers that are below the existing loan amounts and submitting those offers to the banks. They're certainly capable of doing this, but there's a couple things to consider. Most realtors have very little experience with this and are not trained in this capacity. It's not really what their primary focus is, nor is it a place where their training adds a lot of value, and it's extremely time-consuming. As a result, they're marginally effective as a whole. And what is a realtor looking at when they list a property? They're looking to see who's going to make an offer, not focusing on a negotiation. And that's the part that's sometimes left out, how key the negotiating process is with the bank. Realtors can be well suited in some cases to do a very simple one-lien property, but it's where you get into multiple liens and other kinds of intense negotiations that it gets out of hand. I don't mean to implicate my real estate brethren and imply that they're not capable, it's just that it's not their focus. There's also the possibility of doing the negotiation yourself. The homeowner can actually negotiate directly with the bank. We have an informational kit which provides a roadmap by which to do that. Again, it's very time-consuming and it can be very difficult. It's just a question of whether the individual wants to put up with the hassle and that kind of time commitment, and if they can make that kind of time available. Now the last and typically the best option is to hire a specialized service that is experienced in dealing with the difficulties of the short sale process. One of the things that is critical to the short sale is being able to quickly establish relationships with the people involved from the lender's side, and to keep those relationships in place, moving a deal from beginning to end. And that's one of the key points about hiring a service that can really make a short sale happen. If you want something done correctly, the most effective way to do that is to hire a professional organization that's specifically geared to do just that service. And that's what Mortgage Mitigators is. They are a third-party negotiation service that handles negotiations with the bank on behalf of the seller, or in some cases on behalf of the buyer. The benefits that are accrued as a result of having handled many of these negotiations over time are getting to know individual banks and how they like to see negotiations handled, as well as what kind of documents are most effective, and most importantly, having developed relationships with the individuals that are responsible for approving a deal on the lender's side. These points are absolutely critical to providing an excellent service. The service also works great with realtors. So if you're working with an existing realtor and they're not familiar with the service, Mortgage Mitigators can work with your realtor to take the time that they were spending on negotiating with the bank and refocus that on helping to find buyers. So it's a great service for everyone involved. And we are more than happy to work with realtors directly as well. The service really is not meant to be a separate item, but is meant to be a partnership for the transaction alongside a realtor. It's not something to do instead of a realtor. In terms of where the fees come from, Mortgage Mitigators service is mostly cost neutral for the transaction because the bulk of our fees typically get paid out of the closing at the time of close. So they don't actually accrue to the seller or owner, aside from a modest initial fee for initiating the document processing. Additionally, if we are not successful, no closing fees are ever charged, so the bulk of the fees are not assessed.